wherever you are. I am Fernanda Bulhões, directly from Brazil, and today we have one more inspiring people story. And welcome, Josette. I'm so
Thank you.
super happy to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me. So good to be here.
Very nice. So let me just tag you here, and then you're going to be able to share with your peeps. Okay, we're good to go.
Yay.
Very nice. So, first of all, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. As I always say to everybody, everyone has a story, and each story could be inspired to someone. If you change one person's life, you can change many people's lives. So, thank you so much again. And tell us, where are you from? Where were you born, and where you are right now?
I am originally from New York. I was born in Long Island, New York, in Huntington, and I live for the last 27 years now in Santa Barbara, California.
And what brought you to Santa Barbara?
Oh boy, there's a journey. Actually, my brother was going to UCSB. I was a senior at the at LaGuardia, the High School of Performing Arts in New York City, and I went to visit my brother who was going to UCSB here. And I got off the plane and I said, "Oh my gosh, people really live like this." I mean, Santa Barbara is picturesque. It's a postcard with mountains that just kind of fall into the ocean. They call it the American Riviera. And I fell in love. And not only that, there's a really good energy here. There's a healing energy about this. The ocean, the islands. There's a very big indigenous culture here from the Chumash, and I just fell in love with it. So I graduated high school and came directly to Santa Barbara.
Wow, so it is true when you see the pictures. Those are not made up pictures when you see pictures of the beaches in Santa Barbara and all this.
Yeah, it's a very special place. It's 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 beautiful 365 days of the year. There are trails that endless here in Santa Barbara. You could just walk out your backyard and find a trail that will lead you into the mountains, and you'll come across a waterfall coming down. It's just spectacular.
Very nice. So let's go back in time. You said you were from New York, from Long Island, which is a place that I have my heart isn't there. I lived in Connecticut, and I know, you know, there's a lot of Jewish family that I love them so much over there. So, how was your life growing up in Long Island?
Well, once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker, right? I think that it's in your blood, and you become. I love that I am a New Yorker, and I tell people everywhere I go that I may look Californian now, but my blood is New York. So, and people will always kind of when they start talking to me and when we're in a heated subject, somebody will look at me and be like, "Oh no, the New Yorker is going to come out in her." Everybody hold on. Which I love because that's the New Yorker is genuine, authentic, um, and they speak their truth, and I love being a New Yorker. I grew up everywhere. My dad moved a lot, so by the time I was 6, I was out of New York and moved to Pennsylvania, and then from Pennsylvania we moved to St. Louis. From St. Louis we moved back to New York. From New York, we moved to Haiti, where I lived in Haiti for a while. Actually one of my most favorite places to be. And then from Haiti back to New York, where we lived in Queens and then in the city.
Wow. And the reason why you daddy moved so much was that like he was a military or
No, he was a hotelier. He was in the hotel business. And so he managed hotels, and they just transferred him all over. And it was actually when my parents got divorced that we moved to Haiti, because originally my mother is from Haiti. So we just moved back to her home.
interesting. And how was your childhood? I mean, even though you've been like here and there, how was for a child to be everywhere?
Yeah, looking back, one of the things that I was pretty adamant about giving my own son was stability. So I didn't have stability, for sure. The only stability that I had was in dancing, because wherever I went, my mom plopped me in a dance school or a ballet school, where I spent pretty much every day after school at ballet. Um, so there wasn't a lot of stability. I didn't have a lot of long-term friendships because I couldn't. Um, and I think I found stability as much as I could as a child in my imagination and in my inner world. I was very much a loner.
And so this has impacted you a lot in your life, you would say, as growing up, like having imaginary friends and just pretending that you had lots of friends. How this really made you feel?
Yeah, I always had a little plaque on my wall as a kid that I pulled out, and I found, and my mom got it for me because it was my favorite quote, which was "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Uh, and I think that that kind of became my catalyst. I really wanted to cultivate my imagination, and honestly, coming to this day, it's all I teach Tomas. My son is 12 now, and he knows that you create your life with your imagination. You can the deeper you can imagine, the bigger you can dream, the better it gets.
Of course. And how, I mean, and then how was your experience in Haiti? Mom is from there, and you said it is one of the places that you enjoy a lot, but culture changed, that's for sure. How was it for you guys?
Well, yes and no. I mean, my mom is Haitian, so we always had, mom always had her merengues on in the background. She was cooking her Haitian food. My family, the relatives, they would all get together and speak Creole. So it felt more like I arrived home when I got to Haiti, and I was blown away. And to this day, I'm still blown away by the joy, the nature, the goodness of the people. The culture is extraordinarily rich, and it's one of my favorite places. I had the best time. I was 13, 14, 12, 13, 14 living there, and it was pretty
And
awesome.
did you learn how to speak Creole?
I did. I mean, now you couldn't. Now I probably wouldn't, man. I can say a few things, but I mean, I can manage to speak. My mom and I went back, gosh, right before my son was born, we were building an orphanage there, which eventually fell through, but I was able to communicate pretty well.
Very nice. So then, this was your teens, and then you were in Haiti, and then okay, it's time to go back to the state.
Back to New York, yeah, and that's
How
really where
was
I
the
got.
change? I mean, it's so many changes, especially like in so important times of life. So why did you guys decided to come back?
So mom got her second divorce in Haiti. And she went back to New York, which is where the family roots were. Her mom, her sister, they all were in New York. So it was horrible for me. I ended up with an eating disorder. I ended up because mom, when we moved to New York, it was quite a change from Haiti to New York. My big brother decided to go live with my dad because it was so shocking to go to Queens from Haiti. He was not well adapted to that. So we actually ended up splitting up the family, which was very difficult. Um, and it was difficult for me. I mean, I ultimately it gave me a thicker skin, but at the time it was very traumatic.
And how was the support system around you? I mean, everything is new again, and then you have an eating disorder, and then your brother splits, and then it's like a chaos literally in your mind. How
Mm.
did you manage, and how was the support system in your life?
I didn't have a support system. My mom was really struggling to try and just find work. and to provide for me. Because my dad skipped. He skipped. He didn't. He took care of my brother, but he didn't provide. He kind of skipped town. I mean, we've all kind of reunited and everything's good now. But at that time, it was a very challenging time for my mom. So her focus, which I understand, was just trying to get money to provide a place for me to live. So I was kind of on my own. I was thrown into a New York City public school and ended up at LaGuardia, which was perfect because then I could at least dance my way through it. And that's what I did. I just danced. I danced. That's the best form of expression and release and trauma healing is through dance.
And then I'm assuming that because you love dance so much and because all this experience that you had, you know, always dancing, did you go to dance in college or something like this or no?
I did a little bit. This was kind of part of the eating disorder. I was at LaGuardia, and then I was also dancing at Joffrey Ballet, and I got to a place at Joffrey in New York where I was up for company, and they kind of pulled me aside. This is where my eating disorder came in. I am not a skinny body. I have the good Haitian blood where I've got curves everywhere, and it's just not at the time. Now it's a little bit more accepted, but at the time it was not.
You have to be like this, right? Literally.
Yeah. So at 15, I started smoking maybe 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I stopped eating, or I, would go to the bathroom and just throw up whatever I ate. So I went really heavy and then really skinny and then really heavy again. And I ended up dropping out of dance my senior year of high school just because I was so sick. I was sick emotionally. I was sick mentally because the one outlet that I had to heal or to kind of release all the stuff that was going on in my life was then starting to put that pressure on. So I did not, once I finished at Joffrey, I never got to company because they wanted to tape me up and they also wanted to do a breast reduction on me. And I just said, I'm out.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, I was only 15, so I had just gotten them.
They're mine. Oh my God. So how did you go through this? Honestly, I mean, with all this ups and downs and skinny, overweight, skinny, overweight, and then your health and then your mind. I mean, it's a big mess. How did you do it?
You know what? It's so funny. I think everybody, you say it, everybody's got a story. And I feel like my story isn't that different than a lot of people. I think a lot of people suffered, body shaming as a young girl, especially. Even now I see it. I don't know how I got through it, to be honest with you. My mother is amazing. She's an extraordinary woman who is my superhero, and my brother is my best friend now. And I think that everything happens for a reason. I didn't know at the time, but God always extends a hand out, and I leaned a lot on my faith, and I leaned a lot on my inner world, my inner life to kind of get through it. And life is a wave. There's the treft and the whatever you call it. There's the up and the down, and you just ride the waves. No one that I've ever met has always been on the top of the wave. The wave
Absolutely.
always.
Yeah. And then when did you say that you start reliving again? When did everything started to point to you into some right direction and you said, okay, let me focus. I'm going to get better. I can do this. And how did you do it?
When I moved to Santa Barbara, for sure. Yeah, I found my brother was here, and it's a beautiful place, and I found so many wonderful friends. And my brother signed me up for modeling. There was a modeling agency here, and even though I was short and overweight, he just said, "You're so pretty, just go do this." And so I went into this modeling company, and at that time, my eating disorder had pretty much vanished because I was too busy enjoying my life. And the weight dropped off and I was eating healthy and started college. So Santa Barbara just became a great time for me.
Oh, so guys, you need to move to Santa Barbara. She's giving you the hint. Look, and do you guys see that she's drinking mate? Oh, look at her. Look at this, Noelle. She's drinking mate. And can you explain us, why a full American in Santa Barbara, California from Haiti is drinking mate?
Mate, I can't do without my mate. My husband of almost 20 years is from Provincia Buenos Aires, Argentina. So
Okay.
this
That explains.
is by association.
Do you drink it cold or hot?
Mm, both, but I love the hot.
Very nice.
And we drink it all day long here. And my mother-in-law is here from Argentina right now, so it's there's empanadas every day. There's she's just all day in the kitchen cooking Argentine food.
Typical South Americans. My mom is always on the kitchen too, so it's
Yeah,
great.
I just earlier I came in and she was making strawberry jam. I said, "Oh, that smell!" Just I told her, I said, you're going to be here the whole summer, and it's going to be an issue after a few months because it's so good, all this food.
And have you learned how to speak Spanish?
Yes, I mean, I still make a lot of mistakes, which is funny. My son now corrects me because he's pretty fluent and he's taken so many courses, so he knows. But I'm fluent in French and I'm fluent in kind of sort of Creole, so I can manage my Spanish.
Very nice. So Maria is saying, yeah, empanadas. And then Cheryl, she says she's also from, she's a New Yorker and she's in PA now. And she says, I need to find out about this. I believe she's talking about Santa Barbara. God's perfect timing. I mean, I
Always.
know that God's always going to show you the way. So once you got to Santa Barbara, and then it's another restarting of life, and then you went modeling and everything. You said you went to school over there, right?
Yeah, I went to the community college here and then to University of California at Santa Barbara. And I did do dance there. I started back with dance, but just for fun, just for kicks. I ended up becoming a research paralegal. I was planning on going to law school.
And you were planning why it didn't happen?
I did go for a couple of years to law school, but it was never really in my heart. It was really great. Yeah, it was really great. I made money. I made rent. I had a great life. I could go out after work, and I did the 9 to 5, and I made my money. And then when I met my husband now, who was my boyfriend, he really inspired me to take a second look, because coming from Argentina, when I had just met him, he kind of looked at me and he realized I was not really happy with what I was doing. And he said, it's kind of a machine here in America. He said, my parents always told me, just do what you love. Just do what you love. And if you can't afford what you're living, we'll provide, but just do what you love. And he was making, tons of money. And he got up every morning and rode horses. And I thought, well, hang on a second. How is it that you're doing so well and he left out of bed in the morning. I mean, he would leap out of bed and just go racing to the barn because he was so happy and he loved what he did. And I thought, I don't have that. I don't have that. And I would like to find that. I would like to find that, that life, that I'm leaping out of bed in the morning, loving what I do, and not afraid of money or finances or stuff. So he inspired me to take a shift and a good look.
And then when did you make this decision? I mean, and what kind of decision was this? You just woke up one day, you said, I'm going to start listening to my emotions, to my heart, and my husband is showing me the way. So when was this shift happening?
Well, it's a journey, I think. Once you become aware that perhaps you're not living the life you came here to live, and you're not totally on purpose. I think that's another thing. We all are given a beautiful soul purpose, and some of us still don't know, and some of us are on the journey looking for it. I once I made a decision and to align with the reason I came here, and I surrendered. That's a big thing, surrendering. That was all part of a process, an inner process of, okay, God, I know I'm not doing what I came here to do. I see what he's doing, and I really want to follow what I'm supposed to be doing. And you know what? I give up. I give up. I have no idea how to get there. I don't know how to get from point A to point B. I'm at A. I want to be at B, and I just don't know. So could you please take the wheel? And that was an earnest, and I continue to do that. That's kind of my mantra, because I know it's the only thing that works. It's surrendering to your higher self, your higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. And then when you do that, all of a sudden, that perfect timing, that synchronicity, everything starts to align. I think within a week, I have to backtrack and tell you a funny story, though, because I'm going to get back to this. Let me dovetail. I was in a church praying. I was so lonely. And I said, all I need, God, if I give you my list, I want somebody tall, not from this country. If he has anything to do with horses, it would be great. And if he's really, really funny and makes me laugh, I just need somebody like that. Can you give me that? And like 5 days later, I met my husband, who's a polo player.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna pray you right there. I want to have a tall man too, and he has to be Arabic, because I love Arabic. Okay,
I love it.
God's gonna. Oh my God, I goosebumps now. Goosebumps.
Get it? Yes. Well, and then I just said, and then you take care of it, because I'm tired of looking and I'm tired of dating. They're not here, and I give up. So that getting to that point, sorry, I'm messing with my hair. That point of giving up is, to me, the best, because when you finally let go, you allow God or whatever. And, you know, for me, this is because, again, dovetailing back, this is more real to me than reality, because I know this works. I know my inner world is fine-tuned and cultivated to the point where, okay, I get it, you know, I can. And I met him, and it was really funny. When I met him, he was exactly what I had asked for. And years down the line, I had said to him, I said, you know, I manifested you. I totally prayed for you, and here you are. And he kind of jokes. He goes, and you didn't add millionaire onto that list? And I said, no, I didn't think about it. And he goes, because at times that would have been handy.
Oh my God. Oh, this is amazing. I like that. But you know what? That's what probably you have read The Secrets, the books, and you know, we manifest the things that comes directly from our hearts, and the universe is gonna listen to you. If you're saying yes, 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 or I want this, it's gonna happen. The same thing when you preach bad things and sickness, that's what's gonna happen to you. That's why you're saying that, you know, you're in the. Oh my God, you're amazing, girl. Yes.
No, you are, and you're absolutely right. And I say that to my son all the time when he leaves for the day. I say, when you have something amazing happen, tell yourself, I did that. And then when something really crappy happens, tell yourself, I did that too. And he kind of looks at me. He goes, but Mom, did you manifest your disease? Did somebody manifest cancer? Like, somebody was in an accident. How does that all work? And I said to him, I said, I don't know all those answers. I really don't. I don't know all the answers. I'm still on that journey to discover. But what I do know is we are way more powerful than we're led to believe. And that when I figure out how it all aligns, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, just try and come back to heart, love, truth, positive, and it will come to you. It will, you know, snowball.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And then, so you met the guy.
I met my, yeah.
And then,
So
did you guys get
synchronicity.
married right away?
No, we dated for 4 years, and it actually worked out really well. I was working as a research paralegal for um, the largest private owner of the Hilton Hotel Group, who played polo as well here in Santa Barbara. And I was able to work from home at the time, and it just worked out really well. And then when my husband and I got married in Argentina, I made the decision to leave my job and to follow his polo career for a while.
Oh, also he's a polo player. Oh, I was wondering where do the horses come in? Does he breed horses? Does he take? No, he's a polo player. Oh, that
Well,
is
now he does breed. He's an Argentine polo player, and it's kind of a hashtag I have. I married an Argentine polo player. God help me.
that is so cool. Oh my god, very nice. And then there is something that like you said, sometimes we manifest things that we don't know. And then you were telling me backstage that you got sick again. And how was this? What happened?
Yeah, so back in 2010, 2009, 2010, I had just given birth. My son was born in June of 2008. And so he was a year and a half, 2 years old. And 2008 was the big crash of the economy. So my husband everybody stopped playing polo. So he lost his source of income. And we had been traveling. So we didn't have a home because we had been traveling with polo. And it was very difficult for us because he had to sell all his horses, he sold all his gear. And we began fighting a lot because nobody knew where the money was going to come from. And I didn't want to go back to work because I had a newborn, and it was a really difficult time. So we separated, and we fought a lot, and he went back to Argentina. We were both really miserable, trying to figure it out, trying to find the right thing to do for our son and for ourselves. And it was during that time, the stress, the sadness, the grief, that it was in 2000, late 2010, early 2011. I got rheumatoid arthritis, um, the disease rheumatoid arthritis, and I want to tie that into the stress and the anger and the negative emotions for a year, because I believe that much of disease kind of is a result of that, of negative emotion. So I got RA in early 2011.
Can you explain to people who probably don't know? It's immune disease, right? And
Auto,
what autoimmune disease? How is it? What is it?
well, it's horrific, is what it is. It is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks itself through, it attacks your joints. Um, so my left elbow I could never straighten it. After 1 week, my left elbow was completely fused. And the process of it fusing felt like somebody was breaking my bones at all hours of the day. It was horrific. So your joints just fuse together. You see some of those people with their hands where the fingers are all just. And they say there's no cure. They say that they don't know what causes it, and they say that it's a very long list of pharmaceuticals that they give you. I went to 5 or 6 different specialists to try and maybe get a different diagnosis and different anything, but they kept taking my blood, coming back with the same thing, saying you are advanced, your numbers are off the charts, your joints, you're not gonna fend well with this, because my elbow fused in so short of a time. They were concerned that the rest of my body would be right behind it,
Which you would probably make you go into a wheelchair, and it would be like the end,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, the diagnosis was advanced rheumatoid arthritis with no cure. The prognosis was 6 months to 9 months until I was in a full wheelchair.
Wow. And how did you take all of this? I mean, you are going through already enough stress. you're separated, you were with a newborn. Wow, how did you poof with all of this in your life?
Well, my husband came back to help me, and that was the first start of my healing. And I blamed him for everything, of course, like a good wife would do. And it was actually funny because that was part of my healing is, well, I'll go back to that. But my husband came to help me, and I looked at him and I said, I am going to put 120% into healing myself for you, for us, for my son. Everything just became really intense, and I was in a lot of pain, and I was scared, and I didn't know I was how to heal. I had no idea. I knew that I didn't want to take the drugs. And it was interesting because I was still nursing Tomas, and they said, you have to stop nursing immediately because there's like prednisone and methotrexate and hydrochloroquine, which is funny, and Humira, which is a biologic that shuts down your immune system. There was all of these things, and they said, stop nursing immediately because it could be toxic to your son. And I wasn't willing to give up my breastfeeding. I just wasn't going to do it. And the doctors thought, you're going to be in a wheelchair. We're trying to put you in remission, just stop nursing. And I said, this is all happening very quickly. And, I need to find some alternatives. I need to figure some alternatives out. And that was the last time I saw a doctor. Well, before I saw, and they declared me a miracle, but that was the last time I saw a doctor. And I went on a journey for holistic healing.
And where did you start looking? And what was the first step for it?
Dr. Google.
To keep on nursing, right? And I think this
Yeah.
was one of the most beautiful things you have done it. And then what was next? Like waking up and says, okay, and now?
Well, I was home with my son, and my husband came back, and he was caring for me because I needed care. I couldn't get dressed on my own. Honestly, I couldn't brush my teeth on my own because my elbows didn't work. So my husband was my full-time caregiver, and for me and for my son. And we had sold all my jewelry that I had, so we could pay. We didn't have to worry about money for a couple of months. And I started with research I was a research paralegal. So it was, again, the universe aligns you perfectly when you start going to what you're meant to be doing. So I was able to research enough to find a clinic, I think it was in Switzerland, that had really, really big success. It was a holistic clinic, had big success with autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis, RA, I think it's type 2 diabetes is also autoimmune. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I know one of the diabetes is autoimmune. And they had started with a alkaline diet, pH diet, and then also candida removal, which was all news to me. I had never heard of any of it before, but I said it's worth a shot. So I went full vegan right away and went on a candida diet. And then the other big thing, which was also part of this clinic's program, was you take full responsibility for where you are on your journey. You let everyone off the hook. It's nobody's fault. No one, not your parents, not your husband, not anybody. You are fully responsible for where you are in your life. And that was really difficult and really empowering at the same time. It was to look at my husband and say, this is my body, my life. I don't blame you. I love you. I just want to heal. I want to heal everything that's caused this. And that was the first start of my journey.
It's hard for everybody to look within and say, yeah, I caused that. I mean, it's not that you're auto punishing yourself, but
Yeah.
it's hard to admit so many things, right? And so, how was the change of diet? Because it's probably not easy. I don't know if you were a meat lover or something, and then because you went from A to Z. It's not like you start going slowly. You just boom.
It was drastic, yeah. And of course, you know, my husband's eating pastas and meat all day long. So
Typical Argentinian, right?
typical, yeah. It wasn't that difficult for me. A lot of people ask that, but I was in so much pain and I had so much to lose and I had so much to gain if it worked that I didn't think twice about it, and I found some really amazing foods. I mean, there's some really good green, greens to eat. I was eating artichokes and I was just really I there were times when I just looked at my husband and I said, I'm really hungry and I just can't eat another piece of lettuce. I just can't. But there I found foods, quinoa and a lot of other foods that and at the same time I lost all that weight that I was trying to lose. So I was, back into my size 2 and but yeah, it wasn't as difficult. The sugar, because I gave up sugar and wine and carbohydrates and I didn't eat any of that. So I think the sugar was probably the hardest, and my coffee. Coffee was hard to give up. But then I started on the yerba mate, and that's been the best thing for me.
Oh, wow. And then you were telling me that one of the things that came into adding a good source of healing for you was Zumba. And how did you find Zumba, or Zumba found you? How was the whole process?
I get really emotional because Zumba found me again aligning. I had a friend of mine before I got sick saw me crying every day, and she said, "That's it. I know what will make you happy." And she dragged me. I was kicking and screaming. I did not want to go to a fitness class at all. She dragged me to a Zumba class in Boca Raton, Florida. And I laughed and cried the whole hour. It was the best thing I had ever seen. And I said, this is everything, because people were over the top happy. They were sweating. They were celebrating. It was amazing. And so I loved it so much. I got licensed to teach Zumba. And then a month after I got licensed, I got the disease. When they told me
The RA came afterwards.
RA came after, I was all excited to teach, and then I got RA, and kind of stopped the plans. And then when the doctor said that, you only have about 8 months, 6 to 8 months to be able to move, I thought, well, this will be the last thing I do. Is I'm going to go and I'm going to show up and try and move for whoever shows up to my class and teach my Zumba, because I didn't want to go down without teaching a Zumba class. And so at the same time, we were leaving Florida. There was more of a polo career in Santa Barbara for my husband, and I wanted to be in Santa Barbara. And so I wanted to go back home. So I called, there was an ad at the city for a Zumba instructor. So I called and applied and got the job.
Wow. Who was your zest?
Joy Prouty.
Oh my God.
I did the first Jumpstart Gold. So it was the B1 and the Zumba Gold at the same license. Yeah.
Wow. This was like really meant to be, because gold is one of the, for me, is one of the most beautiful part of Zumba is Zumba Go. So then you came back to Santa Barbara, you got the job, and it said, I'm going to put all my love, all my effort, all my last that I had into it. And how, tell everyone, because now I know, what happened. And then, so you had 6 to 8 months, and then how did you manage dancing and everything? Jeez.
It was hard. It was really hard. Sebastian, my husband, would help me into the elevator to teach the class. And I wrapped my knees. We had found a spray because my knees were really affected by the RA. We had found a spray it's for arthritis. It's pimentos or hot pepper spray.
Capsaicin.
Yeah, capsaicin, and it numbs you. So I was numb for an hour. I was really hot. I was sweating because it was so hot, but I was numb and I was able to move a little bit. So yeah, that my husband helped me. I only had 3 students. I was kind of started really slow, and then I started to heal at the same time. So there was all this happening. I was healing disease. I was really finding my power inside myself, because it's a very empowering thing to understand the what's happening on a cellular level inside your body, and to just really be present with it and feel it and know um, what's going on. And so there was all this happening, and then I just said, it's time to really get this going. So I started advertising and bringing in more people, and lo and behold, I think the rest is history. But
Oh my God. Everybody says that, and this is something that we learn on B1 and then later on Pro Skills, that once you get to your classes, we put our lives behind, our problems, our worries, and then we give our 110% for our students, because we never know what they are going through and the reason
exactly.
why they come to your class. But for you that were feeling into your bones, and it had to find strength to dance and to put the choreography, how was it for you to go into knowing that you were in pain, even though you're putting the sprays and everything, but you had to find strength? How did you manage dancing? My goodness.
I honestly, I think the music goes on and a switch happens. For many of us who are Zumba lovers or dance lovers, I think that there's something that happens in your soul. At least for me, it's like a switch when the music goes on. Um, it's a place of safety. It's a place where I'm supported, and it was a place where I felt that Maria's saying it, dancing in the here and now. That's it. It's a place where I could be supported by the music, and in turn, I just got out of the way and supported everybody else who was coming, because life can be raw and it can be intense, and everybody, as you just said, you don't know what everybody's dealing with. I had one woman come to me um, right before COVID hit, and she came to me crying, and she said, this is the only place I've been able to smile for the last year. And she said, I just want to thank you. And she told me that her husband was killed in a helicopter crash. And they had been married for 37 years, and they had no children. And she said, he was my everything. And I thought, you know what? Everybody has trauma and angst. And if you can hold that space for people as a Zumba instructor, what a privilege, what an absolute privilege. And to commit to just getting out of your own crap and showing up just for 1 hour for people. It's the best thing I've ever done with my life.
And how did the healing process? I mean, so you change your diet, and then Zumba came to your life
Yeah.
in full force, and then you just gave in and said, "Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do it." And how long did it take you to start getting better? And you said that you didn't take the medications, right?
I never took any of the prescriptions. I changed my diet. I really worked on a holistic lifestyle. So one of the key things in healing is eliminating the stress, which is not an easy thing to do because life will hand you stress, but how you handle it is huge. So eliminating stress, carrying, we call like our home, we call it a sacred space. So in my home, there's no yelling, there's no arguing, there's no nothing ever. It's a sacred space. My husband honors it, my son honors it. And when we have disagreements, we sit down and we talk to each other. That's the commitment. Um, so there's stress, there's diet, and the healing process, there's a lot of something called a Herxheimer reaction, where you kind of take 2 steps backwards and 1 step forward. So it was a journey. It didn't happen overnight. I would get worse before I got better, but I would get better, and then I would get better. And it was one day I just woke up and all the pain was gone. And it was about a year, a little over a year of full vegan, full alkaline diet, and commitment to that. And then I went, it was like a year after that, a doctor in my class who was a board certified internal medicine doctor kind of looked at me and said, don't you want to know how you're doing with the disease? And I looked at her and I'm like doing the Beto shuffle. And I'm like, I'm doing great with the disease. I don't need to know anything. And she goes, you know, as a doctor, I wish you would just, could you let me take your blood? And I had never, I didn't want to go back to any doctors, but she's so beautiful and so lovely with me. And she really, you know, comes to Zumba like every day. So I said, okay, let's do this. And she took the blood, and she didn't call me. She called UCLA, her friends at rheumatology at UCLA, and sent the samples down to them, and then called me and said, we need to sit down. And she sat down with me and said, I've talked to several people. I've had UCLA review this, and we're declaring you a medical miracle because you don't have RA anymore. And we know that you had it. It wasn't in your imagination. It wasn't a false positive on the blood test. You did have it, but right now you don't have a disease at all. In fact, your blood is as good as an 18-year-old. And you know, I was in my 40s, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of knew that. Didn't need to tell me. I'm going to go back to dancing now. But I realize now, because I have met so many people that suffer from autoimmune disease, that don't need to. It's unnecessary. And if I can heal, everybody has the capacity to heal. It's just finding it, and also realizing that you can get a diagnosis, but don't believe the prognosis. Don't ever believe the prognosis, because a prognosis is in your power. It's your control.
Absolutely. Cheryl, she's saying, I can't relate with arthritis in the knees, especially. Zumba releases endorphins, natural painkiller. Makes me want to Zumba all time too. Really inspired by your story.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I want to Zumba all the time too, but well, hey, why not? Let's just do it.
And then I was telling you before that you said you started with 3 people, and then whoever sees your Instagram and everything sees that you're always with the house crowded and everything. So how did it happen then? You know, from 3 people, and then you just boom, you flourish.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really kind of funny. Again, I'm in a constant state of bewilderment, gratitude, and surrender. I know how to dance. I can dance. That's something I can come out and go, you know, you can put me on a horse. I can't play polo, but I can dance. And yet there are dancers that have come in that are far better than I am. They're far younger. I think what specifically my class is, there's an incredible amount of energy, because I've become fairly practiced at this internal art of energy healing and energy manifesting. I'm pretty good at manifesting an energetic space, so to speak. That sacred space that I carry inside of me. I'm good at carrying it. And I think people feel it. At least that's the feedback that I get. People feel it. It's palpable when you walk into the room. And then from there, I like to kind of just give the spotlight. If you see Instagram or a lot of the stuff that I do, I like to get out of the spotlight. I don't want people to look at me all the time anymore. Like when I was at Joffrey, that was all what I was about. But now I just want to shine the light and put the spotlight on people so that they understand how sacred and divine and beautiful they are. And I feel like that's my job. And I think that people are drawn to that. They're drawn to a community that's just dancing, because Zumba kind of already, that's the baseline, you know. Zumba is a celebration, it's a dancing party, and it's a community. So number one, you can't go wrong there. And then that space, I think people are just drawn to it. And I honestly, it's word of mouth in Santa Barbara as well. People talk.
That's but that's how it's always is. If you do something nice, if you do something good, if you make somebody happy, if they are happy, when you're happy, you tell people you're happy, and then they're gonna ask you, "Why are you so happy?" "Oh, I'm doing Zumba with Josette."
Right.
"Oh, where is she?" And blah blah blah. And the word
There
of
it is.
mouth is the best marketing ever. And
Yeah.
so when you got the results from the blood test, you knew it already that there was nothing inside of you. And do you keep your eating habits are continued, that you're still vegan, or do you allow yourself sometimes to cheat just because you have a teenager at home? And how do you manage,
No, I stopped when I was healed. I pretty much I added organic chicken and fish to my diet. Um, and then I think it was 9 years I was doing mostly 80% alkaline greens and then a little bit of the other stuff. But I never did sugar or carbohydrates. And then we went to Punta Cana for my 50th birthday 2 years ago to the Club Med, and my husband was like, "You haven't had chocolate in nearly 10 years." And they had, cacao from the Dominican Republic is so they had chocolate mousse everywhere we went. There was chocolate mousse, chocolate mousse, chocolate mousse. And I said, "You know what? Let me live." So I started eating chocolate. Oh God, that was the end of it.
But I'm assuming that you eat like probably 80% cacao, or you're not gonna go to
Yeah,
that.
no. And I still now, because again, turning 50, it was a challenge for me because all of those hormones go and my body's changing, and I'm trying to kind of ride this wave of self-love and acceptance as my body goes through what it goes through. But I'm still back to pretty much 80% vegan. I really love my greens. I love juicing. I love the way I feel. I don't eat chocolate. I mean, I maybe have a piece of chocolate every month or maybe 2 months, but no, I like being healthy. Also, um, as I age, I'm also realizing that I don't move as well as I used to, and especially with a little extra weight, it's definitely not as easy. So I'm allowing my body to do what it does. As my husband says, he'd rather me be healthy because that was the big thing than skinny. And after going through what I went through at Joffrey and having to go through eating disorder, this is a really interesting time for me because I don't know who watches this or how old you are, Fernanda, but at 50, I
I'll be
added.
50. I'll be 50 this year.
So I don't know if it's hit you yet, but for me, I got 20 pounds as a gift and I didn't do anything for it. I mean,
As a gift.
no, I guess it's not a gift. It just happened. And I think, when I talk to my mom, she goes, "Yeah, that happened to me too."
I don't want that gift. I'm trying my hardest. I
That,
accept
well,
the hot flashes, which I've gone through, and then they are gone. But the packing of whey, I try my hardest. I do not welcome them at all. The
no, yeah,
pouch, the pouch.
that's
The bad
it.
thing is the little damn pouch.
Right. And for us who exercise, like I exercise every day. So I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me. I've got to do something else." Like, I don't know. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I find that diet, I just want to eat what's healthy and nourishing and good for my body. I won't put crap in my beautiful vessel. I know that. So yeah, I'm still pretty much 80%.
Good for you. So, how do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, hopefully I'm still dancing. I definitely see dancing, but I'm moving towards a little bit more of speaking about health. Um, I kind of surrendered and I was able to, about 4 years ago, the Daily which is a website that does holistic courses and beautiful courses. They have Deepak Chopra and Gabby Bernstein, and they contacted me and they said, "Could you create a course for us on healing and dancing?" And I called Zumba and I said, this is something that I really want to do. It's an opportunity for me to speak about healing disease. And they were really supportive of me. They said, do whatever you need to do, just don't call it Zumba because of licensing issues. And I said, okay. And so then I was able to get that course, and it's still one of the top 3 courses and motivational courses on the Daily Ohm after 3 years. So I think that, and then from there, I've been speaking a lot. So I hope that I can continue to just do these kind of things where I'm just letting people know that I'm here. I want to be like a lighthouse for people, especially those who are suffering with disease or suffering with autoimmune, RA, that they know that healing is possible. It's not only possible, it's, I've already done that road. I've already done that path. And I know quite a few other people who have done it also, who are completely disease free. So I think that there's a shift going on in our world for sure right now. And I think that empowering people to take better control of their own life and their own health is huge, whether it be celebrating through dancing or celebrating their journey through eating healthy things.
I think especially because, like you said, what we're going through now, this past 15, 16 months, that has been really challenging for the world. And this is probably a chance that the universe is giving all of us to rethink, reanalyze, and set new priorities, because you never know what tomorrow brings. So let's leave it full, today, because you never know. So in 20 years, your son is going to be 32, probably. Are you ready to be Gramming and having kids playing
You're
around?
terrible. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. No, I don't know. I'm sure whatever the journey is going to be, it's going to be awesome. I think that's, I tell people, in fact, just to kind of tag on to what you just said, life becomes very sacred. And I think that, this whole year we've been talking about what's essential, right? You can only do something, you can only go out for your essentials. Well, what's essential? Your health is essential. I think we all got to take a good look at what's really essential in our lives, and so much of it isn't. And I think this COVID taught me one really good thing is to cut out what isn't essential. And I cut out a lot of stuff. And I know a lot of people have as well. And one of the things that is essential for me is to continue to share that we can heal naturally. And it hasn't been met well. I did one ad for a course that I have called Heal on my website, which is just a 7-day course that explains everything that I did to heal rheumatoid arthritis. And I worked with a marketing person, and we did an ad, and there was so much bullying. Like, that's a load of crap. You can't heal naturally. Why are you hurting people by telling people this? And I took it off because I was really sad. And then I realized that I can't deny my own journey. I can't go back and say, oh my gosh, I didn't really heal, and please, the doctors are always right and you must listen to them. I can't do that. I can't, because it's not my experience. And to deny myself, none of us would deny ourselves. And I think there is empowerment in knowing that somebody healed a disease. There is empowerment in knowing that there are other alternatives.
And I think that we can add on to this, because you mentioned to me backstage that mom has healed naturally too, that she has denied treatment for cancer. Can you just quick tell us what happened? I just remember.
Mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer years ago, 30 years ago. And she also was actually part of my inspiration to not take the drugs. She she had a lympectomy and a double mastectomy. She said, okay, let's take everything out. And then the doctor said, you have stage 4. So that's not enough. We need to do chemo, radiation. And she said, no, you've done enough. And then she took a year off and went on a healing journey to her favorite places. She's very Catholic. So she went to Medjugorje. She went to Rome. She went to all of her favorite pilgrimage places. And 30 years later, she's completely cancer free. She's never gone back.
See, another statement that it is possible. You know,
it's possible. And I think people are starting to, if anything else, we're starting to realize that maybe there is a deeper well to drink from here. You know, there's so much that we don't know. And I think there's so much power that we have that we're not taught. We're just not taught how powerful we are and how beautiful we are and how sacred our lives are, every single one of us.
Absolutely. I solely believe in this. So, what is a saying, a quote, or something that you live by?
Well, definitely imagination is more important than knowledge. I think that's, and you, I don't know the exact quote, but I know that Martha Graham said something, I think it's Martha Graham that said, people will always remember how you make them feel. And that's it. Zumba is an emotion business. We're in the emotion business. You can call it a dance business or a fitness business, but a true Zumba instructor is in the emotion business because we hold a space for people to release their emotions safely. And I think that is it. Feeling needs to be put a little bit more higher on the importance scale.
I agree with you. A favorite book?
The Secret.
Of course, yes. I would agree 100% with you. So,
and I have to say it was such an honor because I was asked, this is how the world works. I was asked to be on a panel with Jack Canfield, Don Miguel Ruiz, Dr. Bruce Lipton just last week. I was on this panel with them and they included me. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. These are my heroes. And then I have a woman who just moved in recently next door to me. And she works with Jack Canfield, who lives up the street. And I didn't even know that. And we started talking and she's like, wait, I know you. And Rhonda Byrne, who wrote The Secret, lives down the street from me. So,
are you kidding me?
No. So it's just comical how once you let everything go and open up your field of wonder and let's see who's coming in, and just those little synchronicities and serendipities that happen in life are awesome.
Wow. So for us to finish, I'm going to give you a word and then you're going to answer me with a word.
Okay.
Family.
Love.
Zumba.
Healing.
Playlist.
Daddy Yankee.
I love that. Marriage.
Ooh. Depth.
Sacred place.
Art.
Wow, those are deep. Very good. So I cannot thank you enough for allowing us to be part of your journey, for you to share with us a little bit of this. Like I keep on saying, everybody has an inspiring story, and then it can change you, whether it's one word, the whole situation. So thank you so much. I wish you nothing but the best, and I cannot wait to go to Santa Barbara to join one of your classes one day.
Thank you. And thank you to Maria who hooked us up, right? Thank you.
Yes, Maria Noel from Argentina. I appreciate. So guys, this interview is gonna be downloaded to YouTube. It's also here on my page, but I'm gonna download and put it on a playlist. If you guys want to share it, please do it. So, And next week, let me just confirm what day is next week. Jesus Christ, I'm going crazy with all my guests. Let me just double check. I think it's, yes, that's right. On Sunday, but at 4 p.m. Miami time, we're gonna have Werner. He's from New Zealand. He's also a Zumba instructor. He's 71 years old, and he is such an inspiration as well. On the 13th, we have my good friend Noelle Landings. She has also a beautiful story. And guys, on June 10th, which is a Thursday because he's a very, very busy man, we're going to have Abraham Hernandez, who's also from California. And he has a very good story to tell you. So thank you so much. Thank you, Josette. I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. Thank you so much. And have a beautiful week. And
Have a
happy
great
Mother's
weekend,
Day.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll see you in a bit.